45 minutes left. Archangel Michael says, a big miracle will happen in your life, but you are making a big mistake. My child, please don't do this. Listen immediately. The clock moves like a quiet drum, and your heartbeat keeps the same secret. A door that once refused you is loosening its bolts from the inside. A miracle has already stepped into the corridor of your life, and it is searching for your handle. Your name is being carried by a wind that knows your history and still chooses your future. New provision has already been signed in a room you did not enter. Your signature is written in light, and it is waiting for your arrival. A private message rests on your screen, and your thumb hovers like a storm above the send button. The words you almost release are the rope that could pull you backward. The big mistake is the instinct to run to the old pattern that once hurt you. One wrong move turns a swift blessing into a slow season. One unnecessary reply feeds the very voice that tried to bury you. Hold your yes and guard your no, because timing is the quiet language of destiny. 333. You stand inside a crossroads made of memory and promise. The next 45 minutes are not ordinary minutes, but golden minutes. They are charged like midnight rain over dry hills. A courier is already on the way with a document that changes a long-standing decision. A banker has prepared a note that releases a hold over your name. A gatekeeper is ready to nod, and the nod is yours. Archangel Michael says your window is open, and your lane is clear. The world around you may feel heavy, but the air above you is clean. Step with the certainty that has been written under your feet. Your tears have watered something that finally learned how to bloom. The seed that received your pain has learned a better language. It will speak in results, and it will speak today. For 44, someone from the past senses the shift and sends a hook dressed as concern. Oh. Their tone tries to sound gentle, but their aim is to slow your rising. You do not owe another apology to the hands that misread your soul. The big mistake is to negotiate with an old storm while the new sky calls your name. The big mistake is to explain your growth to ears that enjoy your smallness. Silence becomes your sword and boundary become your sheet. A dark car circles an old address and finds no open door. The plan to draw you into confusion finds an empty chair. Your absence becomes your answer and your peace becomes your replomo. Your name is being discussed in a room with bright lights and precise pen. A decision maker points to your file and smiles with quiet relief. The hold lifts and the way clears like fog, but finally there is silence. 555. You tidy the space where your miracle will sit. You clear a chair and you clear your mind. You tell your heart to receive like a calm harwa. A letter waits beneath a photograph that once hurt you. You lift the letter and you put down the memory. The letter chews you over your history. Your house knows the voice of victory even when you whisper. Your floor feels the arrival through your careful steps. Your mirror recognizes the steadiness in your eyes. Archangel Michael says your courage is the key that fits every door prepared for you. Your spine lengthens and your breath so. The air around you carries the color of arrival. 666. The voice that used to rush you now loses its power. False urgency falls like old paint from a tired wall. You move with deliberate grace that cannot be provoked. A stranger with a soft coat and firm hands carries a sealed envelope. The seal bears a crest that matches a story you once heard in a late conversation. The story is now printed as fact and the fact fares you well. Your phone lights with a call that comes from a number saved under hope. The tone you hear from the other end carries warmth and clarity. They speak your name like a promise already it. In a quiet office an advocate corrects a line that used to block you. A stamp comes down once and then again for certainty. The stamp sounds like footsteps from help that refuses to be late. 777 Your hands remember the weight of lat, but they start learning the weight of abundance. Your shoulders release the old habit of bracing for impact. Relief introduces itself like a trusted friend who stayed through storm. You walk to the window and the sky smiles without fanfare. Cars move and people talk, but your moment is set up for it. The ordinary is carrying extraordinary cargo on your behalf. A memory tries to rise and you give it no chair. The old scene has no actors now because you stopped attending the show. The stage goes dark and the curtain falls without applause. You prepare one affirmation that matches your new chapter. You speak it in a steady tone that even your doubts respect. Your words carry the fragrance of settled victory. 888 The person who once delayed you writes a long attempt to pull you back. Their message is full of rain that refuses to water any. You read it without absorbing and you set the phone face down. Another call arrives and this time it is the confirmation that matters. The voice is precise and warm and it uses phrases like cleared, approved, and released. Your name sounds different when it is spoken from the womb. You feel something delicate around your shoulders like a mantle you have earned. Your steps feel taller than the floor. The house answers with a peace you can trust. You set a glass of water on the table and breathe like a lad. The minutes are still passing but they no longer chase you. They now escort you. 999 A driver parks outside with a package that carries a new beginning. The label holds a reference number you once saw in a dream you tried to ignore. Now the dream lands with a signature and a date. You slice the seal and the room inhales. Inside rests proof that your life is opening like dawn. The document glows with clean lines and your name looks comfortable light. Tucked in the back is a small card with instructions. The steps are simple and already favored. Each action fits in one smooth afternoon. You remember the big mistake and you choose the opposite. You do not send the old message. You do not revisit the old door. 111 A transfer clears and the screen lights with numbers that once felt impossible. The decimal sits like a crown and the comma smiles like a gift. Provision moves from waiting to welcome. The text arrives from a relative who once misunderstood. The text carries a simple line of support without a shadow of control. You receive the kindness and you keep the boundary. The air smells different in rooms where you once rehearsed survival. Your body starts trusting stability. Your future sits down at your table and asks for a plate of courage. You pace the hallway like an artist during a premiere. The canvas finally displays the colors you risked believing. Every brush stroke looks like a yes. 222 new spreads without noise and the people assigned to you feel it in their bones. Helpers find you without you chasing them. Advisors appear with calm plans and clean calendars. You choose the meeting that honors your time. You choose the contract that respects your value. You choose the lane that keeps your spirit quality. The clock announces a final turn in these 45 minutes. Your heart answers without panic and without a high. Your feet remain under you like anchors that learned how to flow. What deserved to leave is gone and what deserved to stays here. What deserved to rise is rising and what deserved to rest is fleeing. Everything listens to alignment. 333 A fresh message appears, but this one is different. It offers a future rather than nostalgia. It honors the healing rather than testing it. You choose to reply with clarity and brevity. You protect the ground you fought to gain. You move your life forward with the gentle precision of a surgeon. Your calendar begins to look like a garden. Appointments appear like healthy trees with fruit in season. Dead branches are gone and the sunlight is generous. You revisit your budget and it smiles at you. The numbers now tell a story that your heart can read. Wisdom sits in the margins like a friend who knows how to listen. 444 You dress in colors that agree with this brigger. Your body understands celebration without needing noise. Your face carries the softness that comes after long battles won. You donate the items that belong to the old chapter. Space appears and with it comes fresh energy. Your room breathes and your spirit mirrors it. A melody you use to love returns and it no longer stings. The lyrics fit your present without pulling you backward. You hum it like a lullaby to your own nervousness. You write a short note to your future self and you keep it near your key. The note says you did it and you kept doing it. The note says you stayed true and it mattered. 555 Calls stack politely and every voice brings order. A mentor speaks about scale with warmth and clarity. A partner outlines steps to match your rhythm. You choose agreements that protect your peace. You choose timeline that honor your health. You choose outcomes that keep your soul in debt. The package on your table includes a second document for a secondary release. The date stamps create a pattern of acceleration. Acceleration feels safe because it is backed by a lawn. Your home smells like coffee and courage. Even your silence feels productive. Even your pauses feel purposeful. 666 You remember the hallway where you used to study the exit signs. That hallway is now a gallery of your new beginning. The exit signs transform into welcome signs. A message arrives from a distant city with an invitation. The invitation names you as chosen for something you once watched from the outside. Now the door swings because your presence is required. Your hands hold keys you prayed to hold and the metal feels warm like it belongs. You remember nights you slept with hope under your pillow. Those nights now bless these days. You set your phone to do not disturb and you tend to the moment. The simplest act today becomes a seed for tomorrow. Your patience is now capital. 777 You buy a frame for the first page of this new chapter. Paper and ink become art when they rewrite a life. You hang a worn light will tell a lie. A neighbor who noticed your quiet battles finally smiles with you. Their smile reflects back strength that never left you. Community begins in small nods and grows into safe laughter. The last traces of hesitation fade like mist in noon sun. The old story loses its narrator. The new story writes itself with your steady hand. You walk through your door and it closes behind you with gentle confidence. The click sounds like a vow kept to yourself. Your house knows you are safe. 888 You place gratitude on your table like a meal that never finish. Gratitude multiplies what it touches. Gratitude trains your heart to recognize abundance without fear. Your steps outside feel like a parade made for one. Even the street learns your cadence. Even the wind moves aside to let you pass. You find an old photo and you bless the person who survived it. Survival turns into growth and growth turns into glow. Glow turns into guidance for others. You are no longer asking life for permission because life already agreed. The agreement is written in outcomes. The outcomes speak fluently. 999. You open a message from the institution that once delayed you, and it contains a sincere correction. They attach formal apologies that recognize your patience. They attach numbers that reflect your worth. You read every line and you feel the justice in your bones. Justice arrives neither loud nor late. Justice arrives with receipts. A partner reviews the documents and nods in calm approval. Their expertise melts the last pieces of worry. Your team now includes people who love to see you win. You sign with a pen that glides like a whisper. The ink carries your yes into every corridor that waited. The corridor becomes a hallway of light. 111. The sun lowers and the evening remembers your name. Traces of gold cover the edges of everything. Even shadows look softer around. You prepare a simple meal that tastes like rest. Every bite reminds your body that the war is over. Peace sits at the table and refuses to leave. Your phone stays quiet because it finally knows its role. It serves you and does not lead you. It rings only for doors that belong to you. You finish the day with a calm certainty that needs no audience. The miracle did not shout, although it could. It simply entered in state. 222. You do not repeat the old cycle. You do not touch the old trough. You do not feed the old hunger. Your spirit stands tall in shoes that finally fit. Your mind breathes without race. Your heart lives without flinching. Tonight you will sleep like people who trust the sun rays. Your dreams will carry details that bless your plan. Your morning will arrive with quiet thunder. The big mistake stayed behind and the big miracle moved in. The door is locked from the inside by peace. Your life answers with a gentle yes that never ends. If you wish to express your support further, you have the option to give super thanks with contributions of up to $1.20. The room still carries the hum of arrival and your steps match it so. You keep your peace like a lantern that cannot be blown out. Your heart holds the line and refuses to reopen the old new. Momentum gathers quietly and chooses you without fanfare. The good you planted in dark season steps forward like a trusted witness. Everything that once opposed you begins to run out of script. You move your attention from what hurt to what helps. You collect your strength from the small wins you owed. The day answers with multiplied clarity. Your name feels clean in your own. Your decisions sound like music even when no song play it. Your life agrees with itself in ways you can finally. 333. A relative who once argued with your boundaries writes a shorter message than usual. The words are respectful and the tone is simple. You accept the update and keep your center. A file that carried a stubborn delay now shows a new status. The stamp beside your name reads released and the page looks liar. Numbers align in neat rows and refuse to threaten you. You find a receipt from a season when you stretched every ounce of hope. You fold it carefully and thank the one who managed to undo it. Gratitude becomes the bridge to this wider ground. You choose not to explain your progress to people who celebrated your confusion. Silence remains your ally and forward motion remains your language. You hold your focus like a compass that never lies. 444. An advocate calls with a tone that already knows the out. Their sentences carry brisk confidence and clean steps. You feel how right choices sound when they finally find a microphone. You schedule one meeting that honors your effort and cancels two that only draining. The calendar breathes and the day smiles back. Space appears for what actually matters. The doorbell rings and the package is heavier than it looks. Inside rests a simple object that represents a complex freedom. Ownership settles on your shoulders like a cloak cut to fit. You walk around your home to introduce this freedom to every room. Each wall listens and each window softens. Even the floor agrees to carry this new weight with ease. 555 A professional opportunity reaches you through a person you almost forgot. Their message is clear and their timeline is respectful. The invitation fits your spirit and your schedule. You ask your body to speak and it answers in calm yes and steady breath. The nervous system that once prepared for battle now prepares for growth. Ease becomes the new discipline you practice daily. The paperwork on your desk reads smoother than it used to. Edges feel rounded and commitments feel mutual. You sign from wholeness rather than hurry. The hours glide without the old friction. Productivity and peace stop competing and begin to collaborate. Results gather like birds returning to the right season. 666 A voice from the past tries one more performance. The lines feel familiar but your ears have matured. You recognize the costume and retire the scene. You replace the reflex to fix with the decision to let go. Release becomes a strategy rather than a surrender. The sky responds with a brighter tone of blue. An email arrives from a city that once felt too far for your car. The subject line carries warmth and a direct path. The attachment names you as necessary rather than replaceable. You gather travel details with unhurried precision. Your suitcase becomes a container for hope rather than escape. Departure sounds like a promise you wrote to yourself long ago. 777 A mentor shares 3 sentences that change a year of playing. Each word clicks into place like a lock welcoming its key. Your plan keeps its soul and gains a BAP. A friend appears with resources you did not request. They hand you tools that fit your hands. Preparedness lands without the noise of pay. Your reflection shows the softness of someone who learned hard lessons without becoming hard. Your eyes hold the shine of relief that finally stopped. You look like a person who can be trusted with. You bless the chapters that taught you and the chapters that held you. Nothing is wasted and nothing is made. Everything arranges itself into meaning. 888 The place that once strained you begins to lose its claim. You no longer feed what does not heal you. Attention becomes your finest currency and you spend it precisely. You organize the documents that prove your new reality. Paper stops feeling like pressure and starts feeling like power. Order treats your nervous system like a friend. A quiet generosity rises in you without the urge to announce it. You help where you are sent and not where you're goose. Your giving begins to multiply in circles you cannot even see. Evenings return your energy instead of stealing it. Rest feels like a partner rather than a chore. Sleep becomes a confident doorway to talk. 999 A message arrives from the institution that once overlooked you. The wording acknowledges what they missed and corrects it in full. Their correction brings both numbers and respect. You receive the correction without performing humility that harms. You honor your perseverance with real celebration. Pride returns to its rightful place as gratitude's sibling. You file the letter with the other proofs of this turnaround. The folder grows into an archive of faithfulness. On quiet days you can open it and remember what endurance can do. The miracle you carried quietly now grows taller than your fear ever was. You can see it from every room. It does not demand attention because it already owns the room. 111 An artist inside you wakes with alarm. Creativity stretches and begins to set the table. Ideas line up like guests who arrived early because they loathe. You restart a project you once paused for survival. The pause gave it wisdom and the restart gives it wing. Progress shows up with a clear face and a steady gait. You craft a schedule that protects both output and oxygen. Breaks become sacred and deliver more than they cost. The work thanks you by becoming lighter to carry. Your voice on the page sounds settled and brave. The tone refuses to apologize for existing. Readers will feel this steadiness and keep turning pages. 222 Your finances begin to tell a story that matches your growth. Expenses surrender to structure and income agrees to be count. Peace shows up in spreadsheets like sunlight through blind. You place a portion aside for the version of you who survived. Savings becomes an altar to wisdom rather than fear. The account carries both digits and dignity. You choose a cause that mirrors your healing and send a gift without noise. MBAC rises quietly where it is needed. Giving transforms you as deeply as receiving did. Partnerships approach with aligned motives and clean expectations. The word collaboration becomes safe in your mop. Your yes is planted in rich soil. 333 The community around you starts to self-select. Those who celebrate your boundaries stay and expand. Those who needed your confusion leave and fade. You host one small way as it feels like sunlight. Laughter lands without edge and listening arrives without judgment. Belonging grows in corners that used to hold worry. Your daily rituals anchor you without chaining. Consistency brings freedom because it honors what you value. Small actions accumulate like drops filling a sitz. You notice how quickly recovery happens when you act from center. Repairs take hours instead of months. Wisdom prevents fires rather than waiting to fight them. 444 An opportunity appears that matches both your skill and your story. It asks for the version of you that exists today. You answer with a calm yes that keeps your integrity intact. Travel plans finalize with a breeze of favor. Routes simplify and rates behave. Every detail lines up like choreography. At the airport your name is pronounced correctly and the smile behind the counter is real. Even the announcements sound softer. You board with a sense of rightful place. The city you land in answers your arrival with open streets. Meetings honor time and outcomes honor efforts. You return with more than headlines because substance follow you home. 555 A health shift arrives as a gentle upgrade you can feel. Your body thanks you for every boundary you kept. Vitality stretches where strain used to live. You feed yourself like someone you love. Choices reflect respect rather than punishment. Energy learns to stay. You move your home a few inches closer to the life you desire. A chair shifts. A plant finds light, a corner becomes a sanctuary. Environment begins to cooperate with destiny. Morning routines stop hurting and start helping. You wake like a person who is welcomed by the day. The mirror offers kindness without effort. 666 The person who once occupied too much space in your thoughts begins to shrink. their store line no longer writes your reactions. Your peace refuses to rent to strangers. An honest love finds you without having to prove its origin, its presence is patient and its pace is human. You recognize the difference between intensity and safety. You let connection grow in the soil of mutual clarity, definitions replace assumptions and kindness replaces performance. The bond learns to breathe. You keep your identity steady whether together or apart. Partnership meets wholeness rather than rescuing it. Joy becomes a shared language rather than a borrowed costume. 777 Your name appears on a list that requires integrity to maintain. You carry the honor without fear because character did the lifting. Titles sit lightly when substance holds them up. A leader you respect asks for your opinion and listens all the way to the end. Influence arrives without noise. You reply with calm precision. The project that once felt impossible now has a map. Milestones show up like mile markers on a kind route. You follow the path you once begged to see. Completion begins to feel natural, build of. You finish what you start, peace you start what is your. Satisfaction arrives as a powerful quiet. 888 You review the year and the math favors you. Lost taught. Waiting trained, arrival cry. The equation ends in increase. You place a simple symbol of this turnaround on your desk. It reminds you that miracles expand inside ordinary days. Memory finally prefers gratitude over grief. You give yourself permission to maintain the game. Maintenance becomes devotion rather than dread. Consistency keeps doors open. The night closes like velvet and your breath is unbroken. Dreams carry instructions that meet you in the morning. The future takes its rightful seat at your table. 999 Institutions that once ignored your voice now circle back for wisdom. You teach without performing and guide without controlling. Authority flows from authenticity. You outline a mentorship that honors both boundaries and generosity. The next version of you becomes someone else's beginning. Legacy stops being a concept and starts being a calendar. You bless the roads that did not work because they led you here. Detours transformed into directions. The map now loves you back. The miracle did not just visit, but decided to live with you. Every room adjusts to its residence. Your life begins to sound like a steady live. 111 You write a clean list for tomorrow and keep it short. Focus becomes a friend that brings gifts. Completion walks you to the door and hands you rest. Your spirit thanks your body for staying through the storm. Your body thanks your spirit for choosing peace. Unity becomes the new baseline. The phone vibrates with one more confirmation you did not chase. You file it with a smile that reaches your eyes. Evidence stacks like bricks building a new home. You sleep with the lights of trust on inside your chest. The house settles and the night holds you. Morning already knows your name. 222 You refresh your boundaries with kindness and firmness. The edges of your life are now painted with truth. People who love you can see the lines and respect them. You learn to celebrate privately without hiding publicly. Visibility serves purpose rather than ego. Influence learns how to be responsible. Streams of income begin to diversify in practical ways. Creativity and sector share a desk and produce good work. Stability becomes a rhythm rather than a rumor. Your desk remains sacred and your no remain was. Both are doors that protect your path. Both are tools that build your future. If you wish to express your support further, you have the option to give super thanks with contributions of up to $1.20. Your timeline keeps widening like a river that learned how to carry you. Every hour collects proofs that prefer you. The room where fear once lived now hosts the sound of calm decisions. Messages that used to shake you now arrive without audience. Your body reads them like distant weather that does not reach your street. You reply with brevity and move forward with both hands free. A courier leaves another envelope with edges pressed like confidence. The seal breaks clean and the paper inside carries numbers that honor your patience. Relief rises in your chest like a steady sign. You place the page in a folder labeled Evidence Affair. The folder grows heavier in the best way. Weight becomes witness rather than burden. 333. A map on your desk shows routes that used to feel impossible. Roads appear where fog once argued and the distance cooperates with desire. You mark one destination with a circle that looks like a promise. The call that follows speaks in exact times and gentleness. Coordination becomes easy because alignment already happened. You accept the schedule and feel the day rearranged to bless it. Your reflection smiles with the softness that comes after long endurance. The mirror keeps no record of storms, only the shine that outlived them. You carry that shine into work like quiet gold. Colleagues notice the steadiness that replaced certainty. Meetings turn into builders rather than battles. Outcomes meet you where preparation waited. 444. You choose tools that work as hard and as kindly as you do. Systems replace chaos and your hours respond with gratitude. Even your breaks begin to produce clarity. A mentor sends a message with 3 sentences that refine the plan. Each sentence fits like a measured suit cut for your future shape. You adjust course without losing soul. The project that once crawled begins to walk with rhythm. Milestones arrive like dependable trains. Every arrival feels earned, not lucky. Your heart keeps the tempo while your hands keep the crack. You finish one phase and prepare the next with no pat. Continuity becomes your language. 555. The past tries a final whisper, but your boundaries stand like city walls. You walk along them with peace and view the landscape without fear. Distance becomes a teacher that loves your growth. You delete the last doorway that led back to confusion. Files close and contacts sleep in archives where they cannot wake you. The quiet that follows is medicinal. A partner whose integrity you trust presents clear terms. Their eyes hold the same horizon you see. Agreement becomes easy because respect is the foundation. You sign without hurry and celebrate with Alzheimer's. The pen glides like certainty eyes. Ink becomes the bridge between vision and delivery. 666. Your home learns a new arrangement that amplifies peace. A chair moves. A plant finds true light. A corner turns into sanctuary. Every object agrees to serve the life you are building. Cooking returns as a ceremony of care rather than a task. Ingredients greet you like patient friends. You taste the discipline of kindness on every plate. Sleep covers you early and releases you early. Dreams arrive with directions wrapped in images that feel familiar. Morning greets you with a tone that sounds like approval. You step into the day with a spine made of quiet thunder. The schedule meets you ready, the hours promise to multiply what you give up. 777 A message arrives from a city where your name recently learned how to belong. The subject line offers an open door with honest hinges. You accept with the calm of someone who knows the difference between urgency and opportunity. Travel aligns like choreography rehearsed in C. Seats upgrade, lines shorten, and timing behaves like a friend. Favor escorts you without shouting. In the meeting, eyes meet your voice with attention that honors depth. You present with clarity that wears humility well. The room nods in cadence with the truth of your preparation. Documents move across the table and stop in front of you. Signatures appear like constellations marking a safe path home. Contracts become commitments that protect your peace. 888 You return carrying outcomes rather than souvenir. The door of your house knows victory by the way you turn the key. Rooms brighten without new paint. You arrange the agreements in a drawer designed for increase. Order respects the work you have done to deserve it. Accountability becomes a kindness rather than a cage. A note on your fridge names 3 priorities for the week. Each one holds space for both achievement and breath. The list ends early on purpose and everything still gets done. You invest the first hour into silence that coaches your nervous system. Stillness trains focus and focus multiplies grace. The day thanks you with clean momentum. 999 Your finances narrate a story that respects your resilience. Debts dissolve in orderly lines while income enters like steady rain. Security grows roots beneath your feet. You gather receipts of transformation and archive them by theme. Provision, justice, restoration, expansion. The categories feel like chapters of a book you always wanted to read. Generosity rise again and asks for assignment. You send it where healing can multiply. Giving moves like water and finds the lowest places in order to lift them. You mentor one person with boundaries and warmth. Guidance becomes precise because you remember the roads firsthand. Hope borrows your map and learns to drive. 111 Your health answers the kindness you keep showing it. Energy returns to rooms where it once refused to live. Recovery becomes routine rather than an event. You breathe like a lighthouse on a patient should. The inhale tells your cells that war is over. The exhale tells your story that joy can stay. Movement becomes a ritual that honors capacity. You stretch the limits without breaking them. Strength and gentleness shake hands. Food arrives as fuel that respects purpose. You choose like someone who protects a holy engine. Bigger thanks you by lasting longer than the day. 222 A creative door swings without squeak or string. Ideas pour in like morning through tall window. You write them down before they have to ask for attention. Collaboration knocks with a tone that sounds like reciprocity. You open and find talent that loves to tell the truth. Work feels like clay in adult play. A stage that once rejected you sends an invitation. The timing agrees with your calendar and your values. You step up without shrinking and deliver without performance. Applause lands softly because identity no longer needs the noise. Feedback finds a home because ego has moved out. Growth becomes your favorite room. 333 The neighborhood notices the shift in the way you carry daylight. Strangers greet you with the respect of quiet recognition. Community forms in nods that do not demand explanations. You volunteer in one small way that fits your spirit. Service arrives without savor complex. Impact grows in silence and blooms in time. A letter from an old account arrives with one final adjustment in your favor. It reads like a delayed thank you. Numbers meet dignity and shake hands. You file the letter and close the drawer with gratitude. The house hums a low song that feels loyal. Peace turns the volume of life to perfect. 444. A friend returns with a clean apology and no hooks. You receive it without reopening the window. Forgiveness takes its seat without inviting chaos. You design a boundary that looks like a well-built fence with a friendly gate. Access becomes earned and safe. Connection thrives where clarity lives. The calendar carries a day labeled harvest. The tasks under it are simple and grounded. Results show up dressed in reliability. You end the day without the ache of overextension. The night wraps around you like a well-fitted blanket. Rest becomes a vow you keep to yourself. 555. Morning writes itself on your window in gold letters only you can see. You choose to believe the message and act accordingly. Faith becomes a verb that wears work boots. Your phone lights with confirmations that honor your yes. Shipments move, approvals finalize. And timelines relax. Favor stays consistent like a metronome. You update your plan with new data and old wisdom. Adjustments feel like grace rather than correction. Strategy learns to be kind. A quiet celebration happens on your porch with simple tea. Joy does not require witnesses because it trusts your body to remember. Memory becomes a sanctuary, not a courtroom. 666. You revisit a dream that waited politely in the corner. It stands when you call its name. The dream feels ready because you are ready. You outline steps that fit your real life. Each step respects capacity and invites excellence. The plan breathes like a healthy life. Resources arrive through doors you did not knock on. Someone mentions your name in rooms you earned, not rooms you chased. Openings align with integrity. You accept provision without shrinking. Receiving becomes part of the mission. The abundance starts looking like responsibility well loved. 777. The legacy you are building stops being abstract. It turns into schedules, budgets, and letters that bless future dates. The future answers with gratitude across time. You save a note to your next season with instruction soaked in kindness. The note reminds you to rest, to laugh, to keep your no as holy as you are. The note promises to return interest on your patience. You take a picture of this chapter with your inner camera. The frame holds steady hands and bright eyes. The caption reads, "Arrived and still arriving." Easy. Evening meets you at the door with the gaze of a friend. You sit with it and count proofs without boast. Contentment signed the guest book and stays thence. 888. If you wish to express your support further, you have the option to give super thanks with contributions of up to $1.20. The city settles into a velvet hush while your plans breathe soft. Streetlights make small crowns on patient sidewalk. You walk through the quiet like a promise that learned how to stand. A gentle determination rises from your chest and steadies your hands. You move with the kind of calm that wins without nah. Every step agrees with the door that already open. The paperwork on your table no longer looks like a test. It looks like testimony arranged in clean line. Your name sits on the page with the comfort of belonging. you gather the documents and slide them into a folder that feels like a fuchsia. The click of the binder sounds like a vow being honored. Order takes your side and refuses to leave. 999 morning enters through the curtains like a loyal friend. You breathe the light with the posture of someone who survived and chose to grow. The day answers by clearing a lane in front of you. A message arrives with a timetable that respects your peace. The sender speaks in outcomes rather than pressure. You accept because alignment speaks the same language. Your calendar wears balance like a well-tailored coat. Rest and work share the same table and pass each other the bestie. Momentum becomes gentle and generous. You prepare your space with quiet intention. A clean surface invites clean thoughts. The mind obeys the room and the room obeys your purpose. 111 new connections bloom without the drama of demand. Conversations land in places that respect new months in depth. Your voice sounds like clarity carrying kindness. You read through terms that finally honor value. The page no longer negotiates your worth. Agreement becomes a bridge instead of a battlefield. A short walk clears the air inside your reds. Every inhale tells your body that peace has signed a long lease. Every exhale releases the last of yesterday's ache. You return to your desk with a gaze that knows what to keep. Distractions lose their shine under the light of priority. Focus chooses you and refuses to share. 222 A call from the advocate arrives with precise warmth. Their cadence places bricks of certainty where doubt once wandered. You hear the future settling into structure. Numbers assemble into patterns that bless your planning. Budgets transform into instruments of compassion. Stewardship turns into a love language. You set aside time to honor the version of you who kept going. Gratitude steadies your breathing and widens your horizon. Memory becomes a garden that feeds today. Your home responds to your progress by exhaling. The walls feel lighter and the floor feels kinder. Space remembers the weight you carried and celebrates the load you released. 333 An opportunity surfaces that mirrors your integrity. The invitation carries clean motives and clear timelines. You reply with a calm yes that protects your center. Travel details line up like notes in a chord. Everything clicks without grinding. Favor conducts the rhythm with a soft hand. The room that welcomes you holds eyes that value substance. You speak with grounded confidence and measured fire. Respect greets you before applause and lingers after a day. Documents meet pens and pens meet endings that feel like beginning. Signatures form constellations that mark a safe route home. Commitment takes off its armor and becomes trust. 444 You return carrying quiet victories that weigh more than trophies. Your door knows the difference and swings with a satisfied sound. Even your shoes feel wiser on the mat. You stack the new papers beside proof of older faithfulness. The archive becomes a cathedral of kept prompts. Evidence turns into architecture. Friends who earned access sit around your table. Conversation flows without performance. Laughter lands gently because safety is in the room. You pour tea like a blessing that learned to be practical. The steam rises in tender spirals and the moment takes a seat. Time slows to let belongings speak. 555 An afternoon pause gives your nervous system a soft reset. Silence sets the pace and noise forgets your address. Clarity grows inside the quiet like a steady tree. you list tasks that feel like stepping stones rather than stones to carry. Each item respects capacity and invites excellence. Completion becomes a kind companion. Your finances reflect structure in ways that soothe the mind. Discretionary lines turn into opportunities for generosity. Security and service hold hands without argument. You plan a small gift for the person who once lifted you. Gratitude chooses action over announcement. Impact travels farther than credit. 666 Your body thanks you for the boundaries you kept. Tension releases its claim on your shoulders. Vitality rises like clear water in a deep well. Movement returns as a celebration, not a punishment. Joints answer with relief and muscles answer with cooperation. Strength wears gentleness like a crown. You prepare meals that honor both taste and yield. The plate looks like art made of pays. Energy repays you with long, even hours. Evening stretches across the sky like silk. Windows collect the last light and keep it safe. Home becomes sanctuary without asking. 777 A message from a distant city names you as needed. Not just one, but many. The wording respects your timeline and your determination. You accept with a nod that holds both courage and smile. You pack with intention and leave room for a bed. The suitcase receives only what serves the mission. Travel becomes a moving prayer made of choice. At the gate, delays shrink and assistance expands. You feel escorted without spectacle. Ease takes the seat beside you and fastens its belt. The arrival city tastes like possibility. Streets speak in welcome and schedules behave. You walk forward as if the ground remembers your name. 888 Meetings unfold like well-written chapters. People speak plainly and listen fully. Decisions land in places that protect all sides. A partner offers terms that align with both fairness and future. Integrity smiles from every close. You sign with hands that learn steadiness. The project converts from outline to momentum. Milestones appear on time with healthy margins. Delivery becomes a promise you enjoy keeping. You return home with outcomes that carry their own light. The door greets you like an old ally. Rest meets you at the threshold and carries your bags. 999 You audit your commitments with a clear heart. Anything that steals peace without purpose leaves quietly. Space opens for the work that loves you back. New income streams form without drama. Creativity invites structure to the table and shares the meal. Stability becomes a rhythm you can dance in. Mentorship grows from authenticity instead of performance. Easy, you give what you have and netter it across your girl. Legacy takes root in daily actions. You write a letter to the next season and sign it with tenderness. The closing line promises continuity without rush. The envelope reads, "This is sustainable." 111 Community deepens in small, faithful way. Check-ins replace checklists and people replace platforms. Trust does its work without mirrors. Your name appears on an invitation that requires character to remain. You accept because substance can hold the weight. The room bows to integrity and rises you. An unexpected refund lands as a gentle correction. The numbers apologize for the delay and make it right. Justice arrives with quiet shoes. You save the proof of keep moving. Vindication no longer needs a parade. Peace enjoys the seat that attention used to demand. 222 A sunrise rates approval across your window. the globe blesses everything it touches. Even your plans look kinder in this light. You align your to-do list with your value. 3 priorities win the morning. Completion arrives before noon and brings friends. The afternoon belongs to learning that feeds your mission. Pages turn easily because your mind trusts the subject. Growth hums like a tuned instrument. You close the day with a small ritual of gratitude. The body relaxes as if it understands every word. Night wraps you in continuity. If you wish to express your support further, you have the option to give super thanks with contributions of up to $1. 20. The morning returns to your window with a softness that steadies your pulse. You move through your rooms with the confidence of someone who knows what arrived is here to stay. The air carries proof that peace has learned your address. Your phone stays light because noise has lost your numb. Messages that matter speak plainly and on time. Everything else falls away like old leaves, making room for new branches. A letter on your table describes final adjustments that favor your name. The writing is direct and the numbers are honest. Relief spreads quietly through your shoulders like warm light. Your hands rest on the table and feel the truth of this new season. Effort meets grace and the handshake is firm. Momentum becomes a friend that walks at your pace. 3:33 You choose fewer obligations and receive richer outcomes. The hours multiply because they are respected. Your schedule looks like a craft rather than a K. Advocate confirms that all filings are complete and clear. Their voice carries the sound of doors closing on chaos. You save the confirmation and breathe like a person who trusts the process. A quiet benefactor reaches out with resources placed exactly where they are needed. Their kindness arrives without strings and honors your autumn. Provision accepts your boundaries and still delivers. You set aside a portion for future building and present gear. Structure becomes the vessel for generosity. Stability and service share the same heart. 444 Creativity climbs the stairs of your mind with bright footsteps. Ideas arrive in order and bring their own instructions. You give them a desk, a deadline, and your best attention. Collaboration forms with people who practice clarity as a habit. Meetings end with decisions and beginnings. Accountability feels like community and mission. A family member reaches out with respect that matches your growth. The conversation is brief, kind, and clean, healing mods without demanding center state. Travel returns as a joyful assignment rather than an escape. It maps to your values and your energy. Every mile agrees with meaning. 555 Your foundation strengthens where cracks once worried. Reinforcement arrives through daily choices that keep faith with your future. Consistency becomes the new thrill. The community event you host feels like sunlight poured into a room. Face is relaxed because safety is present. Belonging proves itself in small, faithful gestures. A leadership seat opens because character did quiet work. You accept without performance and serve without strain. Influence becomes another word for stewardship. You renew your vow to protect the peace that built this chapter. Boundaries remain kind and firm. The door of your life welcomes what is aligned and refuses what is not. 666 Evening rituals return like trusted guardians. A cup of calm, a page of notes. A minute of gratitude. The day lands softly and stays where it belongs. Your accounts reflect cooperation between wisdom and increase. Lines balance and purposes align, security grows roots that do not steal your joy. A new door appears with scholarship written in the frame. Study becomes a privilege that strengthens your voice, learning folds into legacy without rushing. A mentor seals a plan with a handshake that feels like family. Mutual honor holds the agreement in play, the future thanks both of you for choosing integrity. 777 You cultivate your inner garden with patient attention. Weeds of old worry stop returning because the soil has changed, growth becomes the language your life speaks freely. An award arrives quietly with a letter that recognizes endurance. The recognition is gentle and precise, you place it where your morning light can greet. You archive the last remnants of the ordeal that forged this strength. The files sit as witnesses rather than weights, memory finally prefers celebration over survival. You welcome tomorrow with an open chest and a steady knee. The miracle continues to live in your rooms without demanding proof, your yes remains calm and complete. 888 If you wish to express your support further.